It's your boy Street Cred, 4K, all day, back like I never left. Let's get into Shannon Sharpe. First of all, there's always warnings before the destruction. And let's talk about Auntie Monique, who tried to warn Shannon before the storm came.
I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
But you tried to say what you tried to say.
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me live my life.
Let me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
You gotta love Monique. She tried to warn Shannon. So now what we got? We got Gabriella Zunica. I don't know about the name, but it's a little bit sus to me. It sounded a little bit too close to me, like Gabriella. It got to me. Sound a little close to me, like Gabriella Sue to me. I would have been like, wait a minute. What's your name? Gabriella Sue. I'm backing out. I'm backing out and I'm backing up. Listen, this is what happens when you try to go after some of these chicks too young. It don't got so much to do with what ethnicity she is or none of that. It has to do with the fact that, look, when you got that kind of money, when you're a high-powered African-American out here, you got to watch out because there's sharks in the water like Tony Busby. And while we at it, let's get into Tony Busby a little bit and his $50 million shakedown. I mean, I'm starting to think Tony Busby hides a cloak and a hat that has a point with it, has a point on it somewhere in his closet. It seems like he comes after high-profile African-American men. Now, I'm not going to say that some of them don't haven't enough to be out there to where they should be in those positions, because some of them have. But let's be real. It seems like he only targets high-profile African-American men. I'ma say it, that's what it is. I'm starting to think Tony Busby worked for a secret agent that don't like high-profile African-American men. That's the truth. What I truly believe, furthermore, after the release of these text messages, I believe that Shannon Sharpe just aimed a little bit too low. I don't care how fine she was. I don't care how bad she was. I don't care if each cheek was worth $25K like she says in these text messages. It don't matter if they was worth $45, $55, $75K each butt cheek. I don't care how juicy they was. It ain't juicy enough to tarnish and ruin your name. I would have had it. When you got Shannon Sharpe money, you can put together a team to go find somebody who looked like Gabrielle Zunica that is 30 years old and above, since you like punishing young things. If you into punishing young things, you need not to punish that young. You need to go a little bit older than that, right? Because 20 years old and soon someone like Shannon Sharpe for $50 million, and you got Tony Busby involved, this is a shakedown. If I was a high-profile African-American with that kind of money, that kind of status, I'd have to really, really be careful, and I'd be on pins and needles, and I'd have my consent forms and NDAs ready for anything that I'm about to take a dip in, because that's how dangerous it's getting out here. You never know when you're going to find yourself in a $50 million shakedown with the wrong guy like Tony Busby. And I believe that's exactly what's happening here. Now, the big thing that the big problem that I see with this whole interaction with Shannon Sharpe is that, hearing it from Auntie, hearing it from Big Sis, he got a problem with messing with these young breezes. He's got a problem messing around with these young chicks. I mean, you got a problem with the meat a little bit too tender, right? And he needs to really step it up in that sense. I mean, how direct of a connection can you have if you 53 with a 19-year-old? What's that conversation really about? Can you really have a real conversation if you're that old and she's 19? I just can't see it happening. So it really brings me to ask myself, why does Shannon Sharpe need to go that young? That's too young. It's still legal. Yes, it's legal, but it's far too young. So that's another conversation, right? That's another conversation is, why would you need to be, listen, my 19-year-old daughter comes home with somebody 53, we gotta knuckle up. We gotta knuckle up. We gotta squabble up. Like, you can't bring home a 53-year-old and you 19 because I got no questions. I'm just going to let the knuckles do the talking. After that, as big as Shannon Sharpe is, you're going to have to go get, the blicky. Okay, you're going to have to go get the switch. You're going to have to go get the switch, as big as Shannon Sharpe is, because that's a big dude. But all I'm saying is, this lawsuit and the timing, high-profile celebrities, especially African Americans, have to be more careful. You have to be more careful. Because it's just not about just diving in something, these OF models and all that. These ages got to be checked. I don't care how fine, how good, how sexy, how juicy they look. It don't matter. It could cost you opportunities. It costs you deals. Once your name has been ran through the mud because they find out you doing this type of thing with these chicks this young, it becomes a problem. Let's check out the conversation that was released today between Shannon Sharpe and Gabrielle Soup.
Anything I say, you're just gonna get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the out of you when I see you.
For me, it seems like that deep down she knew where this was going to end, which really wants me to ask the question of, who was she working with and who was she working for? Maybe they seen that eventually that's going to be a money grab. Maybe this was more sinister than just a 2-year relationship. Maybe this was a 2-year shakedown, get what you can get now, and if nonetheless and it ends later, then come back, shake them down. Maybe she didn't even know there'd be a Tony Busby later to help her shake Shannon Sharpe down for $50 million, which just suspiciously happens to happen at a time where he's landing a $100 million deal. All of that doesn't add up to me. But all is still the big whoopsie here Shannon Sharpe made, and that is going after these young things, knowing that they thirsty and money hungry, and that they can hit you where it hurts, and that's your pockets and your credibility. And that's where it hurts. Sometimes I'd say your credibility is deeper than them pockets, and that's why he offering that $10 million. He offering that $10 million because look at the bigger picture. There's $100 million that he has. So $10 million to go away and here goes $10 million. But he could have avoided that mistake in the first place. You can't take nothing that young, that serious. How can you even have a conversation like he was having when you 53 and she 19 or 20, whatever exact age she was at that point? Let's check out the text messages. In these text exchange, she says, I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're making love to me. But we know love ain't got nothing to do with it. And then she says, I know you missed this big, juicy $25K for each cheat. The thing about this text exchange is that this happened after she made the allegations and allegedly said that he allegedly choked her, beat her, did all these things to her. So it definitely smelling kind of sus right here. Yeah, but this is the way the real setup comes in at. She says, I want to be abused, Daddy. I want some hardcore BDSM action, though, right? I don't know. But for me, 19 years old, 20 years old, talking that kind of talk, she definitely has walked this kind of walk before. This ain't nothing new. She's setting them up, right? And then right here she says, but I cried when you left because I begged you to put a condom on and not put it in my butt, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. It's a cold setup. But Shannon Sharpe was also guilty because he was here for this. At 53, you should have known about this. And then she says, I don't know how to process this. And then, boom, he blocked her. And that's why these messages are green. Can I call you later? It's a cold setup. It's the $50 million shakedown introducing young Tatiana, who was 19. She's playing a long game. You know, she learned this at a young age. And you know what? Shannon Sharpe probably was her biggest target, but was probably not her only target. She might have been doing that. But the whole thing is, when you go through these text messages, I want you to put a big black baby in me. When you start hearing stuff like that, you know that really she don't want no big black baby. You know what she really want that's big and black. And unfortunately for him, he took the bait. And it may cost him. It may cost him because it's shining light on something that's much more deeper, much more heavy. And it's the fact that you as a 53-year-old man was going after this 19-year-old girl and having very adult conversations that should have been had with someone that's a little bit closer to your age, at least, way older than 19, right? I mean, if she's young enough to be your daughter, she's a bit too young. Let's just be honest about it. That's truly how I feel. She's young enough to be your daughter, she's a bit too young. And that's where I'm at with it. So I feel at the end of the day, Shannon Sharpe's got to point the finger at himself. I feel like he saw a lot of red flags where he should have been careful. What was he going to do? Take this relationship as far as it can go with this 19-year-old? Well, obviously he stopped, and that's why she got mad, and that's why she came out with this, because she wanted to continue to get money out of him, and when that stopped, boom, hit the fan. Hit the fan. And now it's looking like he's got some much, much bigger problems. All of it to me looks too suspect. It's too sus. Shannon Sharpe, even though his big mistake was going after this young chick and being there, this is still a big shakedown. And Tony Busby needs to go ahead and put his cloak out the closet because he knows he goes after African-American high-profile men. That's what he does. I don't think he goes after too many white ones, and don't act like white ones ain't out there. Get all the way up because they out there getting up too. So let's be honest. But it goes after the black ones. So I'm curious to Tony Busby, who do you work for? Who do you really work for, Tony Busby? Since you need to go after every high-profile African-American male. That's my question. It's a shakedown. And like I said, it's Shannon Sharpe's fault because he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, really going after the wrong age chick, the wrong age tender. That's what he doing. That was too young. And so hopefully he going to learn this lesson. Hopefully this don't cost him everything because we know credibility, sometimes, most of the time, is stronger than money. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do your boy a favor, like, share, comment. Let's have this conversation. Let me know if you think this was a shakedown. I believe it's a shakedown. I definitely don't believe that he put hands on her, beat her, threatened her, choked her, at least not in the way that she's trying to say. I think this is a whole thing that might have been the long game that was kind of set up. I mean, I could smell something that's funky when I smell it. And this whole thing sounds funky. It's a $50 million shakedown. It's your boy Street Cred 4K. Keep checking in, keep tapping in, and I'm going to keep bringing you the truth.